All right, we're over here. I'm gonna try to mess with this Grand Wagoneer. Let me see if we can figure out what year this thing is. 1984, April 1984. That's what I figured the other day. I said it was I think on the, man, I can't talk sometimes. I believe I said that it was a 1984. So I guessed it right. Well, I guess I better show you a little bit about the vehicle. I mean, the door panels are there, missing an arm strap here. Maybe it's in the vehicle somewhere. It's not in bad shape. Speaker grill's busted out, which that would be easy fix. The dash is in good shape. The dash always held up pretty well on these vehicles. Looks like all the interior pieces are here. The headliner is a little less to be desired. We got a lot of the sill plates, it looks like there. All the wood grain trim is laying back here. Looks like somebody had to mess with the rear glass. All in all, though, everything is here. That's always a good start. What's in this glove box? Just some old pins and stuff, pieces of carpet. That's probably for one of the door handle covers. Yep. Two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. Most of these had all-time all-wheel drive, so that's a good option to be able to put it into two-wheel drive. Trying to remember. There it is. All right, so somebody's been under here, left their wrench. Somebody putting new cable ends on it. Scott probably did that. Man, somebody was messing around here. Well, I guess the first things first, we just need to set a battery in it and see if the motor will even spin over. That's the 360 AMC engine. It's got the HEI ignition in it. That's a good thing. That's a real good thing. It's like, I know that's not factory. Okay, so we've set a battery in it, and I'm gonna hook this ground wire up. And hope that nothing smokes. So first thing we'll look for is any kind of smoking or clicking or ticking or so definitely don't want to catch anything on fire. So far I don't hear anything. Don't smell anything. Just assuming that battery did take a charge. Okay, looks like the air conditioned belts are loose, which that runs the alternator as well. So let's just go in the vehicle. I don't know how long it's been since this thing run. I don't know if there's a... Well, it does still have the old style inspection sticker. And where is that from? That's not... That doesn't look like North Carolina. I don't think it's got a tag on the back of it either. Nope. I don't have any indication of when the last time it run was. Trying to get a smell of that fuel in the tank, if there's any in there. Old Mountain Dew bottles. Those aren't old. I had one of these back in the 90s. I had a 1977 Grand Wagoneer. I really did love that vehicle. Okay, I'm gonna turn the key on. Okay, what's that? Oh, that sounds like an electric fuel pump. The motor turns over, but yeah, that sounds like a fuel pump. I better crawl under there and see what's going on. Okay, so yes, we're laying here on the ground looking under the vehicle. It does have an electric pump on it that someone at some point put in here. And I don't know how long ago that may have been, but it does clickety clack. Fuel filter seems empty. I wouldn't want to trust all that anyhow. So let's go back under the hood. See if we can see if it's still got the manual pump on it. Remember on these, I mean, I'm sure that pump will pump fuel, but I don't think we want it pumping the fuel out of that old tank. Of course, I don't know. I have no history of this vehicle, so really need to get it around there and get it on the lift, probably. All right, there's the old filter. Where's the fuel pump on these things? I'm trying to remember. Let me set you guys down for just a minute. Okay, so there is the fuel pump. Right there on the driver's side. I'm gonna try to get a light on it here for you. Right there, if you can see it. There's the base up right there. And the fuel line is off of it. They have taken the fuel line off and bypassed it with that electric pump. I bet you that manual pump must have gone bad for whatever reason. And they just decided to do an electric pump. These camshafts in these 360s were bad about wearing out. Could be something. Could have wore the lobe down on the camshaft. Or no, I don't think this run off the camshaft. That pump runs off of a eccentric that's bolted to the end of the camshaft. Yeah. There's the old part of the old fuel line there. Okay, here. There is the fuel line coming from the electric pump. And they've got that right against the exhaust manifold. Right there, if you can see. That's not good. Accident waiting to happen. Oh boy. So I think what I'm gonna do is take that loose. I'll take that hose off and just let that electric pump run and see what it tries to pull out of that tank. I just didn't want to pump a bunch of junk up into there. See, there's the return. They don't have any of that hooked up. What these had was a fuel filter with an inlet and an outlet and an extra return. So none of that is hooked up. So I did pull the fuel line loose, and it's dry as a bone. But what we'll do is we'll just turn that pump on and see. I mean, yeah, definitely it's moving air anyway. I don't want to burn that pump up if we're going to use it, but yeah, it's either empty or it's probably empty. I mean, the fuel gauge, if that's working properly, it's reading empty. So I'm gonna get me a bottle of gas, and then we'll just pour some down the carburetor and see if she'll at least fire off and run a little bit. All right, so I have squirted a little fuel into that carburetor. And we're gonna see if she'll run. I'm gonna squirt just a little more in there. This is some true fuel. Just see if it'll pop. Yes, she does seem to want to run. There, sometimes it's so challenging to set up the shot. When you're by yourself, you don't have anybody to film. Let's put some more fuel in there and see if we can keep it running long enough to... It's going to take a lot more fuel than that. We need a helper, a helpy helper. If I could just keep it running long enough to get out here. At least we know that the thing runs, and or it will run. We just got to decide how we're going to deliver fuel to it. Maybe through a new manual pump or through that electric pump. I guess the electric pump would be good. We could just put about maybe 5 gallons of fuel in that tank and see if the electric pump will pump it on up here. That way we could get some consistent fuel to it. It sounds like the oil pressure is building up. So I'm just gonna have to wait on my helper. I got so excited earlier, I forgot to check the oil level. I forgot to check the coolant, so we better do those kind of things. Ooh, thing's tight. Yeah, it's got something in there, foamy. I don't want to stick my finger in it. What is it? What is so foamy? Why is it foamy? Yeah, it's antifreeze. I guess because it was just pumping. All right, let's check the oil. Yes, it do have oil in it. Let's wipe that off here. Put her back in there and see what the level really is. Okay. Yeah, she's at a quart low, but it's also very thin. You can tell, I can smell it. It's thin too. It's got a little fuel in it, which is gonna be pretty common for an old carbureted engine. That I'm glad to see that coolant in there though, and it's at the right level, and the oil doesn't seem to have any coolant in it, or the coolant doesn't seem to have any oil in it. That's good. That's good. So what else can we find out about this thing? I mean, somebody has just done some goofiness under here. The vacuum, it's all messed up. It's got vacuum leaks all over the place. I have to get all that resolved before it's even ever gonna run. Or run good anyway. All this evaporative emissions stuff all just hanging all over the place. EGR is not plugged in. We'll probably just eliminate a lot of that. This right here is broken. I mean, good grief. Yeah, it's got a lot, at least it cranks and it runs. So the rest of that stuff we can deal with. And I will deal with. I'll just go through there and get some of the vacuum dealt with. Probably just eliminate a lot of it and just get it down to the bare essentials. I don't know what in the world happened here, why somebody had to mess with all this wiring and tape it all up in red tape. But we know likey that kind of stuff. This is the fuel pump that was on it. We just put a new Edelbrock in its place. And we're getting fuel up to the carburetor now. We're going to crank it in just a moment. See how she's going to run. See if she'll actually get fuel through the bowl into the engine. Go ahead and see if she'll talk to us. I let the high idle off of it. It wasn't ready. Go ahead and just crank it again. Go ahead. Bit of a low idle on it. Carburetor's responding well. The idle's way down on it.
We want to cut that belt on the air pump too?
We can. Does it seem like it's making noise?
Well, there's something making noise. I can't tell what it is.
Well, you don't need to be turning that anyway. It's stupid. I hate what they did to these vehicles back in the 80s. Let me see if I can get this to turn here. Hold on. Yeah, I can. All right, try that. Go ahead. Hang on a minute. Let me get this set up here a little bit deeper. All right, try that. Too bad. I know this alternator belt was loose, and those pulleys look really kind of nasty, so you might be hearing the belt kind of wearing some of that off.
Other thing,
Let's see if it'll go in gear and move. Oh yeah. It's not the best running thing in the world, but we'll figure out what's going on with it. It tried to move, didn't it?
yeah. I didn't know if anything was in front of it.
No, you're good. Brake lights work. Got a wee bit of a mist to it, but that might clear up. Again, we don't know how long this thing has sit. Oh yeah, she's puffing some smoke. Not sure why. Hopefully that'll clear up. All right, so I've got this thing running probably about as good as we're going to get it running for now, just to be able to move it around and stuff. I put that brand new Edelbrock on there. I took the manual pump off and put a fuel pump block off plate there in the engine. Just because I don't know why they had an electric pump on it. It may have wore the eccentric down or something, but it's got a little vibration to it. I don't know what that is yet, but I mean, she goes in gear. And she drives. I mean, she goes. I think she got a little bit of power to her. Oil pressure's not real high, about 15 to 20 pounds. I never was impressed with the oil pressure on these AMC engines anyway. They got that external, or they got that pump that's built into the timing cover. Fuel gauge works. Temperature gauge seems to work. I mean, it's alive and running. Brakes work, got brake pressure. Cut it off and cut it back on. Make sure the timing's not too high. It's some kind of little, I mean, the engine takes all the fuel you give it. I mean, all the power is there. It's just got a little bit of goofy, unbalanced feeling at idle. I'm wondering if that camshaft is wore out. Or maybe the camshaft's got a little wear on a couple of the lobes, making it run uneven. It's probably what's going on with these AMCs. We're bad for that. Yeah, there you go, Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Will it run? Yes, it will. How long's it been since it's run? Have no idea. No idea. She's dirty. He's gonna send it and have it cleaned up, but I don't know how much that's actually gonna help it. Let's see here. Yeah, there's no old registration cards or anything that I see anywhere. I really want to know how long it's been since it set. I mean, there's just no clues. Door's shut solid. How many miles does it say is on it? 119,000. And that could be 219. I don't know, maybe not though. Depends on how long it's sat. Those are some solid old trucks. I bet you that's one of the last real solid heavy vehicle that was made. Solid steel. I mean, it's just a heavy, heavy vehicle.